is the outside packaging of the palette. It is about $59 for about, I think it's 0.45 ounces of product, compared to the Urban Decay the new Naked Essentials, Naked Basic Essentials. I think theirs was about 0.48 for $54, so this is a little bit more expensive in price per ounce, as well as to their actual regular palettes, such as the Lorac Pro or the Pro Mattes. They are a little bit more expensive regularly than, say, the Naked palettes, but in my opinion, you're getting a lot better quality for the Lorac eyeshadows. So here is what the palette looks like. It's white with, it's kind of like a cardboard kind of, I don't have any fingernails right now, but it's kind of like a cardboard consistency. It does have like rose gold lettering, which is beautiful. I feel like it will be very easy to smudge on and very hard to clean. So this palette isn't going to stay white, especially if you're anything like me. It does have a mirror in it, which has some fingerprints because I was doing a few things. And then you have the actual colors and a plastic insert that goes over the colors when you first get it. And these are the colors. You have 16 mattes and 16 shimmers. You get a pretty decent amount of product, not a huge amount, so you're not gonna have it forever basically. But since they are pretty pigmented, they do last quite a while. You have a pretty good selection of colors. You have kind of warmer tones right here and the more reddish tones. Same down here, more warmish and more reddish. I'd say this one's a little bit more pink than this area right here. I'd say this is pretty split evenly. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start swatching. So here are the colors. I'm going to start with the mattes, and then I'm going to work my way down to the shimmers. And I'm just going to start with that top row. So I have clean fingers, and I'm just going to be rubbing into that first color. I'll show you about how much product I'm going to get. Probably about this much. Not a ton of rubbing or anything. And I'm just going to swatch on the back of my hand. So this one is called Pink Cream. As you can see, it's very pigmented. It does show up a little bit lighter on my skin than, say, a dark twin person, because it is almost the color of my skin. I'm going to go ahead and take the next color, which is Tan. It's a little bit darker and a little bit more pink. And as you can see, it's rather pigmented, but again, being close to the color of my skin, it doesn't show up super well. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and take Pecan, which is more of like a dusty rose color. And I'm going to swatch that one. Now I'm going to take Walnut, which is about, I'd say it's a more yellow toned medium brown. So here is Walnut. And these are the first 4 shades. You have Pink Cream, Tan, Pecan, and Walnut. Okay, so we're going to be doing the second set of 4 mattes. This one is called Dusty Mauve. As you can see, it's a little bit, it's very pigmented. It's a little bit more purple, I would say, than it is in the pan. This one's Violet Gray. It's a little bit darker and a little bit more cool toned than Dusty Mauve. Then you have Eggplant, which is my personal favorite. It's a very nice maroon color. And as you can see, superbly pigmented. And then I'm going to take Dark Navy. Didn't really press that hard on that one. I do have leftover pigment. So, Dusty Mauve, Violet Gray, Eggplant, and Dark Navy. As you can see, they're a little bit more powdery than your average eyeshadow, but I think in this case, most of the time it helps blendability. Alright, so we're taking the next row. So we're going to go ahead and take Crepe, which It isn't really the color of crepes, if you ask me, but it's close enough. So I would say it's what I would probably describe as a vanilla. It's very cream colored. Next one is Toffee. It's really nice transition shade for lighter skin tones. It's like a light yellow tone. Not yellow, but like a yellow brown. Next is Mist. I'm actually really excited about this one. I haven't touched it yet. It is a little bit powdery, but I guess that's all of them. This one's like almost like a mint gray, I would say. Super pigmented for the shade, I would say. Not the most pigmented though. This one's Vintage, and it's a very cool tone brown. So you have Crepe, Toffee, Mist, and Vintage. A little bit more powdery on these last two, but still nonetheless pretty great. And here they are after I've blown off that excess powder. As you can see, it's still pretty pigmented. Now we're doing the second set of mattes in the second row. First off, we have Hickory. I would say this is a very neutral toned medium, or dark brown. Dark brown is probably the word for this one. Then we have Maple. This is a more red toned medium brown. Kind of like the color of a horse, like of the average horse, I would say. I don't know. This is the color I see most horses being. Then we have Bark, which is appropriately named. It's very medium tone, medium brown. Just your basic old brown. And then you have Jet Black. Ooh, this feels a little bit different than the previous blacks. Oh, damn. Yeah, that is definitely an improved formula from the original blacks and the other Loracs in the pros and all that. Look at that black. Okay, so we have Hickory, Maple, Bark, and Jet Black. I'm really impressed with these shades. These are probably some of my favorites, and these probably are going to be the ones I'm using the most. Alright, and now we're getting into the shimmer shades, so we're going to go ahead and start with this row. If you know anything about Lorac, if you ever used any of their shadows, you're going to know that their shimmers are so wonderful. I mean, their mattes are too. Best mattes I've ever used, but their shimmers are just almost otherworldly. So we're going to go ahead and start with Snow. This is just a nice shimmery white. Very smooth, very creamy. Kava, which I think is probably going to be my favorite shade. This is like almost a champagne, I would say. Very pretty. This is Cider. I'm pretty excited about this one. I haven't swatched it yet. Oh yeah, that is going to be nice. It's got a little bit firmer texture than the other ones, but still pretty buttery, and as you can see, I still have quite a bit of pigment. And this is just a stain from that jet black, so don't worry about that. Then we have Bellini. I haven't swatched this one either, but I have a feeling it's going to be a nice color too. Alright, and that was pretty much right. So these ones are a bit smoother. They're not as powdery as the mattes, which is a little surprising, I'd say, because usually their shimmers tend to be a little bit more powdery. So we have Snow, Kava, Cider, and Bellini. Alright, now we're going to be doing the second set of those shimmers on the first row. So we're going to go ahead and start with Brown Sugar. Very pretty. That'd be great for a nice smoky eye. This one is Sequoia. Pretty appropriately named, I'd say. This one's Glacier. I'm pretty excited about this one. It kind of reminds me of Mist. It's like the shimmery counterpart of Mist. So there's Glacier. Kind of a unique shade for this kind of palette. And then we have Deep Fog, which is kind of like a shimmery gray. Alright. Yeah, the last two were a little bit more Fallout-y than the last set. So we have Brown Sugar, Sequoia, Glacier, and Deep Fog. Now we're going to be on the last set of shimmers just down here. So we're going to have, I'm actually not sure how to pronounce this one. I think it's Tulle, Tulle. This one has a very different texture than the others. It swatches beautifully, as you can see, but it's a little bit more, it's less powdery. It's a little bit more firm, I would say. This one's pink bronze. That's a nice light one. It's like slightly too dark for my skin tone, and then it's probably going to be slightly too light for everyone else. Then we have Rust. I'm pretty excited about this shade too. It's going to make a great fall color. Oh yeah, look at that one. It's very nice reddish orange. That's pretty much the color of Rust, actually, I guess. And then we have Rose Quartz. This one's really nice. That one's beautiful. I don't know really how I describe that though. So that's a very interesting shade. So we have Tulle, I'm just going to say it's Tulle, Pink Bronze, Rust, and Rose Quartz. Alright, now we're swatching the second set of those shimmers on this last row. Yeah, bitches. So, Olive, very appropriately named. Just a very nice shimmery olive tone. Very, like a dark forest green, kind of. Then we have Dark Roast. This one's a little bit more powdery than the others, I would say. It's kind of similar to kind of how Glacier and Deep Fog were a little bit more powdery. Then we have Pomegranate. This one has kind of a thick texture, more like, I think it was Tulle. I don't know. I don't even remember what I called it last time. Very pretty though. Swatch as well. As you can see, that's going to be a nice cranberry color for fall. And then we have Licorice, which is just a black shimmer. This one has a little bit more fallout, I can tell. So right here we have Olive, Dark Roast, Pomegranate, and Licorice. Alright, so all in all, this is going to be pretty biased because Lorac eyeshadows are my favorite eyeshadows pretty much ever. I'm going to go ahead and say this is definitely something you're going to want to pick up. You might have all these colors, and I have all these colors pretty much, but in the Lorac formula, it's just so much easier to blend. Even centered at all. Okay. So overall, I would say if you're going to pick up any palette this fall, I'd probably just go ahead and do this one. It's got really nice shades, it's got yellows, it's got reds, it's limited edition. You are paying a little bit more per ounce than your typical eyeshadows, say like from the Naked line or anything pretty much. Actually it has a larger price per ounce than the Bizart palettes, which actually surprised me a little bit, but overall I would say these are better quality than pretty much any eyeshadow I've ever used. I've gotten eyeshadows that are like $25 a piece, I've gotten palettes that are $80, $100, and Lorac always trumps them. They're just wonderful. They blend easier than every single eyeshadow out there. They have more pigment. Their shimmers tend to fade a little bit quicker, but if you use a good primer, I usually don't have a problem with that one. Anything like that is going to help prolong it. But overall, they're the easiest eyeshadows I've ever worked with. They're what got me into makeup, and so that's going to make me a little bit biased. But the colors in this palette are great. They work well. And I'm probably going to end up buying another one because I'm kind of afraid to run out of these at this point. This is just overall a great palette, I would say. So this is going to be kind of like a first impressions on this, but I can already tell it's going to be good because most of the Lorac shadows, they're my favorite eyeshadows. So this is what the palette looks like. It's not been swatched or anything. You have, I think, about 16 mattes up here, and then you have 16 shimmers down here. I'm going to go ahead and dive in. I'm just going to be using the Lorac primer. So I'm just going to go ahead and prime up here. And this one's kind of sticky. This is kind of a sticky primer, so I'm going to go ahead and let it set for a second. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some translucent powder all over my lids. And I'm not going to be necessarily clean about it. And then just wipe it off. And this is just what I do with all my eyeshadow. So I'm just doing this so I can't be really biased about it, even though going into this I'm pretty much already biased. That's just how it's going to be with these eyeshadows. Alright, so I'm just going to use whatever colors I think are the prettiest. And let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and take Toffee, which is right here. Even with the ton of fallout that it comes with, you still get eyeshadows that last forever. So see, I just had to blow off some of that fallout. I'm going to go ahead and go in with Maple, which is right here. So I'm just getting a little bit of that product on here. And as you can see, it goes on super duper smoothly. Wow. I'm continuously astounded with these eyeshadows because they just blend like nothing else. These are, I guess not these ones exactly, and then I'm just going to take a little bit more of that Toffee on here on this little bigger blending brush and just blend out the harsh line I just created. But I'm always impressed with these eyeshadows when I get another palette from them. Pretty much every single time I do my eyeshadow, I use some form of Lorac eyeshadow. But as you can see, they go on super well. They blend out super well. And they have beautiful color payoff. I really want to try this eggplant color. So as you can see, eggplant is right here. It's a very dark, it looks almost maroon kind of color. So I'm going to go ahead and take that in the crease. I actually may just have to turn the camera around for this color. Damn. Look at that. Oh man. Yeah, it's got me super messed up. Yep. That's it. Game over. We have to turn the camera around now. Decided to turn this around so we can really see how this eggplant color is working. So as you can see, I just put a little bit in my outer V kind of area. Now I'm just blending it out, and you can see that it blends out like a fucking dream. And I know I shouldn't be cussing or anything, but holy shit. And look at that. I mean, what is this? The perfect fall eye? Because, yeah, it is, basically, at this point. I'm going to take a little bit more Toffee and sweep that over here because of my error, not because of this seemingly flawless so far palette. Yeah, this is beautiful. I can't believe I almost didn't get this. I almost didn't pre-order it. Alright, so... And these ones are pretty damn buildable, as you can see. I can either leave it really dark like that, or I can just blend it out super easily. It's just, these shadows are so blendable. There is really nothing in the world that compares to it, and it's because of their soft texture. I'm going to take Cava, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm just going to do this with my finger because I'm sloppy. Probably should have just used a brush. Wow. Goddamn. Now I'm gonna go put on my eyebrows.